Oh, and there we are. And guess what? Hello, everyone. It is time for Line of the World here in the Ashley Kringen studio of the UBS Network. I am your host, Jerry Hinkle, and well, assuming y'all can read, you know we're going to talk about the truth about global warming. And what we're going, of course, we're going to talk about a whole lot of other things first. But just to give you a little preview, looky here. This is October 20th. I'm in my fall colors, short sleeve shirts. This is not to support the Second Amendment, which I do, but to illustrate that it is very warm today. When I got up, the temperature was 49 degrees. It's up to 55 by now. We're going to be somewhere in the high 70s today. I think 78 is what the fellow on the radio said. So that's just a little demonstration of just how warm it is, and we can talk about that later. We got to catch up on a few things. Last time we were together, we talked about the presidential debate. The Democrats had their say, and I don't know about the rest of y'all, I learned something at the Democratic debate. For one thing, there are more than two people running for the Democrat nomination. How about that? The other three people, I can't recall their name. That one fella, O'Malley, Mark O'Malley, don't know too much about that dude. But I think we're one conclusion we can arrive from. I've noticed a lot of people say, well, Bernie won the debate. No, Hillary won the debate. Well, I think as an impartial observer, as impartial as you can be here, I'd have to say that, putting my own prejudices aside, the people who supported Hillary before the debate probably still support Hillary. The people who support Bernie Sanders before the debate probably still support him. Now, the other three candidates, they could be in one of three categories. One, they could still be supporting their man, despite one thing that has become very apparent, and that is that most of what they said was agreeing with either Bernie Sanders, Hillary Clinton, or both of them. That's a lot of them, and there's a lot of areas where the Democrat candidates agree, and so that's it's all in all in the packaging, I guess. But there's not, and so there. So like I said, those who are not supporting either Hillary or Bernie Sanders will have to agree that it's their candidate is they still might be supporting their candidate despite what I mentioned previously, or they might decide that the fix is in, so to speak, and go with whichever one they think is slated to be the nominee, whether it be Bernie or Hillary. There might even be some Democrats who are so disgusted with the fact that those two are the best that the Democrat Party can come up with, and so they decide, well, I'm going to vote for Trump. Well, I'm not going to judge anybody like I say, I've got my mind made up. I'm not going to tell anybody what, because like my old man told me, he says that it's a secret ballot for a reason. So I'm not going to try to sway you one way or the other. There was a time when I would try to do that. No, y'all can come up with your own idea. So that's what I have to say about the Democrat debate there. Some of the sound bites, a lot of reaction to Bernie Sanders saying that Black Lives Matter. Not exactly the same reaction that Mr. O'Malley got when he said that all lives matter, but which you can take from that what you want to. But anyhow, so that's and of course the big news from our Republican friends, if you have any, is that Dr. Carson and Donald Trump might not be in the next debate. There are a lot of people hoping that they change their mind, and most of them are late night comedians and people like myself who, it's like Will Rogers once stated that he and H.L. Mencken were they were covering the convention in 1920, or I forget the 19 what it was 1928, because it was Hoover's. It was the Republican convention where they nominated Hoover, and he said H.L. Mencken was the lone Democrat and I was the lone bull moose. That was Will Rogers. That's my Will Rogers quotation right there. And he also went on to further say that since they were, since H.L. was there to write seriously about the convention, whereas Rogers was there to write humorously, and I by far had the easier job. All I have to do is write about what happened. Yes, it's the explaining that takes the... Yeah, and so pheasant hunting season started Saturday at noon. Reports that I've heard is that the average hunter nabbed 1.4 birds. I don't know. I've never seen 0.4 of a bird, even though shotguns are powerful, but I don't think they're that powerful just yet. So that was, and it was a pretty. Pheasants are not quite as plentiful as they have been, apparently. A lot of people are blaming the warmer weather. Imagine that. And yes, we're getting closer and closer to the main topic of conversation, but and there was a lot of wind and things like that of that nature, and so that might have been what happened. And oh, by the way, today being the 20th of October, I would be remiss if I did not mention that my cousin Anne is celebrating a birthday. She is 36, and ordinarily I do not divulge a lady's age. But when I met with Anne last Friday, she told me that she was turning 36 several times. And so she's not ashamed of being middle-aged. Well, I guess you're not really middle-aged till you're 40. So she's really pushing it. And and you wouldn't want to have her any other way. There are some ladies in this world that brag about getting older, and she's going to be one of them. So, and And most of us are darn glad she's still around, but I'm one of them, of course. And, so yeah, she shares this birthday with several well-known people that you may have heard of. You may not have heard of my cousin Ann, unless, of course, you are a regular viewer or a regular reader of my print stuff. But she is my cousin, and I'm not going to tell you her last name because you know it. If you don't know it, then that's hard cheese on you. But she shares her birthday with such notable people as Bela Lugosi, who played Dracula, and other similar roles such as that. He was most famous for playing Dracula, and also famous for dying before Plan 9 from Outer Space was finished, and they had to use a body double, and that kind of thing happened. And also Dr. Joyce Brothers. A little quotation from her. She one of her most famous quotations was, "You get out of marriage what you put it back into, or what you put into it rather, but it comes back gift wrapped." And that's she died a couple years ago at the age of 86 or something like that. Well, she was born on this day in 1927, died in 2013. Unlucky for some, so you might have to cipher that out. I could get out my calculator, but we're spending too much time as it is on foolishness. So let's get on. Next topic of conversation. I have a Sunday school class that meets on Monday. I don't have it. I am a participant in a Sunday school class that meets on Monday evening. We did not meet last night, which was Monday evening, because of a presentation for the United Methodist Church Dakota Conference's Thrive Project, which if you are a Methodist in the Dakotas Conference, you will hear more about, probably more than you want. And so I will not. I learned a lot from it, and I hope that if you get to hear a presentation in your area, if you live in the Dakotas Conference area, you ought to go to it and learn something. And now the people that do that presentation are not paid by the conference, so they will tell you, if they do the presentation because they believe in it. So if they didn't believe in it, they wouldn't be doing the presentation, obviously. So, and the person who did the presentation here in beautiful downtown Mitchell's First United Methodist Church was the Reverend Mark Holland, who, as it turns out, was my pastor way back when I was a youth in the old days. And both of our hairs have found some gray, but he still looks much the same. Methodist clean living and all that jazz. And so he was given the presentation, and I did not get too much of a chance to talk to him because he had other things going on, and he there was people that he knew that he wanted to talk to. He did not know that he knew me because it's been a long time since I was a youth, and I had considerably less hair back then, and the hair I had was more brown than it is now. My hair is, but like Granddad used to say, you should be glad your hair had a chance to turn gray, my boy. Mine just turned loose. And for those who did not know Granddad during his lifetime. He had scarlet fever when he was around 20 years old, and the oil pockets in his head got really hot, and his hair fell out and never grew back. And so he was bald for most of his life. He was in the 20s back then. So for the last 80 years of his life, he was bald. Sucks to be him, huh? Well, all right. So after the Thrive meeting, I decided, because of my busy work schedule, I did not know if next week I would be able to see the Woodlawn movie. And so I went to see the Woodlawn movie last night. And see, one of the things I like about going on a Tuesday night, this was Monday night I went. One thing I like about going on a Tuesday is that if you buy if you buy a large if you buy a drink, you get the same size popcorn for free. So if you buy a large popcorn, or if you buy a large drink, you get a large popcorn for free, and they even put butter on it for free. That's good. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. So I went to see the Woodlawn movie. I actually had to pay 50 cents extra for the privilege of having the large popcorn. And it was for the upgrade from medium to large sody. That's what it was. And because at my age, I don't like to drink a lot of liquids, because in the middle of the movie, nature might be calling, and I'd miss something very valuable. Like one time back in 1996, I loaded up on sody, and I had to go into the restroom, and during the Twister movie back in 1994, and I missed the fourth tornado because I walked all the way to the restroom and I did my thing, and then I come back, and so I only got to see 4 of the 5 tornadoes in that Twister movie. No. Yes, feel sorry for me. Actually, I'm probably on video by now. If I wanted to see what the 4th tornado looked like, I could probably fix it. Yeah, providing I could find it on a video, or on DVD or LSMFT, and Blu-ray or Green Ray, or whatever technology they have available, MP4. Okay, so saw Woodlawn movie, and the Woodlawn movie had to do with there was many facets to the movie. For one thing, they were trying. This was when busing was first coming out, and this Woodlawn High School had an enrollment of, it must have been around 2,500 students. This was in Birmingham, Alabama. And so the population, who knows, but enough population that this one high school had 2,500 students. 2,000 of them were from the area. That was a white neighborhood, and they had 500 students that were bused in that were from black neighborhoods, and so that was, and so there was that facet, and then there was a faith-based deal where this fella who went to a revival meeting that apparently Billy Graham was part of in Dallas in 1970. two or three. It was in the Time magazine about the Jesus Revolution. Anyhow, so he got saved, and so he started preaching to different areas, and he ended up in Birmingham, Alabama. And he went to the Woodlawn High School. He said, "Give me 5 minutes." So he gave him 5 minutes, and next thing you knew, he was really on the rail, and he was really giving it to him. I said, "Who's gonna stand up with me?" Dude stands up. Then he comes on down. Another dude stands up. Come on. And before you know it, the whole football team was saved, black and white. And one of the characters was a black student whose name I cannot recall. Anyhow, he grew up to be a member of the Miami Dolphins football team. So that was pretty decent. But anyhow, and so it showed and he and his wife been married for 45 years. And wait a minute, I probably should have, given you a spoiler alert. So I won't talk too much more about that. But just know that it was one of the things I am going to tell you about. The thing that impressed me the most about the Woodlawn movie was that this was a public high school, which is why they did the busing. And so the evangelizing was frowned upon, and the superintendent of schools, he's kind of the heavy on the situation. This rival high school, they had crosstown rivals, and so the other team, they was saved too. So and the coach was warned. He says, if you do any more religious activity, you're going to be out on your posterior. And in spite of that, he called this chaplain that I talked about earlier, the one that went and got saved by Billy Graham. He says, "Okay, instead of okay, I gave you 5 minutes, you saved the whole team. Now lead us in prayer, if you care to." And so he said, he started off with the Lord's Prayer. Well, but the superintendent, he ran right out to the loudspeakers there, pulled all the wires. His mic was dead. And with the stadium, for some reason, this high school football game attracted the attention of 42,000 people. 20,000, and 20,000 more people were turned away because they ran out of tickets. 42,000 people saying the Lord, and after his mic was silenced, you could hear the 42,000 people in there continuing to pray the Lord's Prayer. And this was another thing. This is another part of the of the movies, is that it was demonstrating one way, and of course the traditional football. We are number one. First thing I thought about when I saw this was the song that we used to sing in Sunday school back when I was a young boy in the Highmore United Methodist Church. There wasn't a Methodist church in Hollywood. We had to go to Highmore, and there was this little light of mine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. And it says, shine all over Highmore. I'm gonna let it shine. And hide it under a bushel. No, I'm gonna let it shine. And that was that. And I have since learned a different version that the praise band here at First United Methodist do with a lot of energy, and I always enjoy when they do that particular. They have a lot of uh, songs that I enjoy listening to when they close out the service, and this little item is certainly one of them. And instead of saying "shine all over Highmore," they have it "shine all over the world." I'm gonna let it shine. I want to, this little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. You knew I was gonna sing eventually. You knew it. You knew it. This little light of mine, even if you didn't know it, you knew it. I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, 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 shine. That's my favorite part. It's like I said, new version. And then shine all around the world. I'm gonna let it shine. Shine it all around the world. I'm gonna let it shine. Shine it all around the world. I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine. Let it shine. Let it shine. And I can't think of any of the other verses right now, so mercifully we're going to cut that short and get to the meat of this episode, the truth about global warming. And the truth about global warming is that something's going on. I am not quite sure what it is that is going on. There's something going on. Short sleeve shirts on October 20th, 49 degrees in the morning. And a forecast of 78 degrees. Now, this is not your normal October weather in South Dakota. And when I was growing up, below zero winters were quite commonplace. But last winter, I don't remember too many below zero, and there's a whole lot less of them these days than there were when I was growing up. And I remember like wind chills of 72 degrees below, and we haven't had anything that severe. And maybe we are due for something like that, and we got half of the meteorologists telling us that it's going to be an easy winter. We got the other half telling us it's going to be the almanac, depending on which page you read of almanac. The Farmer's Almanac tells you something different. So one says it's going to be a good winter, a mild winter, and one says it's going to be real nasty one for the books. But I was prepared. I thought, since I work at Walmart, so I think there was one night where, when we have a lot of snowfall, the parking lot in by my apartment building is closed, and they remove the snow overnight, and so we have to find a place to park our vehicles that is not in that. And so I said, well, I'll be at Walmart, so I won't have to worry about that when it happens, because they want you out of there by 11 o'clock. Okay. So, well, there wasn't, I think that, like I said, well, there was only one day when we had snow enough that they cleared the parking lot. And so that, and of course, I don't know what things were like 30 years ago. I don't know what things were like here when I was growing up, but I can only imagine that they couldn't have been that much more different. And I see we're about to cross the 30-minute mark. And so this is on top of the mind shattering, but so this is going to be a heck of this is going to be the longest episode of all time, but so far. But anyhow, so there's something going on. It might be this global warming, climate change jazz that people are talking about. I don't know. And people tell me, well, do your research. I don't know how to research that. I'm not a scientist. I'm not the Pope got a master's degree in this jazz, and I don't. All I got is my Bachelor of Arts in Religion and philosophy, so I can religiousize and philosophize all this that you want to, but I don't. I didn't sign up for that. So anyhow, so I don't, like I said, but there's something going on, and it might help if we could get those who are willing to accept the reality of global warming, climate change, if they could, they've got to do a better job of converting people to their belief, other than calling them ignorant morons. When you call someone an ignorant moron, you're right away says you're and what you might have to say could be very well the truth, but the only way that you will be able to convince someone that you are right is if facts. If you can some sort of get some hard facts and figure out how to present these facts in a way that is accessible to people like myself who do not understand what you're talking about. And yes, maybe I is an ignorant moron, even though I have a Bachelor of Arts degree from one of the nation's top universities. It is very possible that I is an ignorant moron, but guess what? Calling me an ignorant moron is not going to convince me that you are right and I am wrong. It's only going to convince me that you are a jackass. Okay, and that's the truth about global warming as I see it. And so we are coming to that time once again. A little programming note. Not sure how things are going to work next week because I work on Monday night at the happiest place on earth, and so I don't know if I will feel like doing I love getting together with y'all, but I'm not sure I'm going to feel like getting together with you by the time I get out of work on Tuesday morning. I will probably feel like sleeping, and so I don't know. Well, maybe we will do something on Monday morning. Maybe we'll do it on Wednesday morning, but I will, if at all possible, and of course if I have something to say, it is very possible that I won't. So we'll see how that goes. And so we'll, and I don't remember what I said last time about, but starting last Saturday, I was officially, it's full time. I've been 40 hours this week, 40 hours next week. What happens the week after that, good Lord only knows. But enough of that. So from like I say, that is the truth about global warming, and that is what's on the mind of the world for October 20th, 2015. So until next time, world, from the Ashley Kringen studios of the UBS Network, this is your host, Jerry Hinkle, saying God be with you, and do the best you can. And, hey, get out of my bathroom. You're invading my privacy.